from Khammam, from Bangalore, Japan. Wonderful. Final year engineering students, fantastic. Badalpur, Gurgaon. Very nice, very nice, guys. Mumbai, Punjab, Mohali. Wow, what a Kakinada. Fantastic. Very good to see. And what a brilliant mix. We have 44% of entrepreneurs, 31% of employees, and 25% of students. Very nice. Brilliant, guys. Brilliant. Okay, Aurangabad. Oh, beautiful. So, without much delay, welcome. Let me start. Welcome you all to the first, I would say, webinar on behalf of EV Masterclass. What is EV Masterclass? EV Masterclass is first of an initiative across the country, an initiative by the industry, of the industry, and for the industry. Why? Because while reports say that electric vehicle as an industry will create 50 million jobs by 2030, I always would like to rephrase this differently. I would say, if we were to enable India to be the global hub of EV market, if we were to enable India to be the global hub of EV market, we need 100 million hands to come together. Yeah, let me repeat. If we were to make India as the global EV market hub, 100 million hands have to come together to make that happen. And my attempt is to join those hands as much as possible. Again, all of those hands need not be all of them to be entrepreneurs. Some of them could be entrepreneurs, some of them could be playing the role of employees, but whatever the role they are, some of them into production, some of them into sales, some of them into service, some of them into R&D, right? Some of them into whatever, right? 100 million hands are required on the deck to make India as the world's automobile hub. And then the entire attempt, right, of EV Masterclass is to bridge that gap. Because what's happening right now, let me tell you, my friends, the biggest threat to EV industries at this point of time, right? The biggest threat to EV industries is not technology, not money, not funding. The biggest threat to EV industry is non-availability of relevant talent pool. We see majority of our engineers, even if they come from mechanical, electrical background, they find it easy to learn some software languages and then get into a comfortable IT job. While I do not deny, I would say disapprove of it, but then EV as an industry needs more hands. Do you agree with me? If you agree with me, type that yes, I agree on the chat box. And for the next 1.5 hours that we are together, right? I would like you all to be really active. Be active on the chat box like the way you are already, and we will ensure that you will get, right, whatever the needed, I would say, takeaways and insights from this session as possible. Yeah. So with this, let me quickly start today's session. Yeah, I hope you are able to see me. You are able to hear me very well, right? I hope everything is very clear. Perfect. So, welcome to EV Masterclass, a cohort designed, developed, and delivered by industry experts. And this is an initiative by the industry, of the industry, and for the industry to ensure that the EV ecosystem is accelerated, propelled, and India will soon emerge as the EV hub of the world. We missed the industrial revolution, and we cannot afford to miss the EV revolution. In fact, let me tell you, 2000s has been an era of ITs, but 2020s is an era of EVs. And that's exactly why we are here, to understand how this is going to be an era of EVs and how you and I can play a significant part in it. Yeah. Are you excited? If you're excited, type that you are excited. So in today's webinar that lasts for about an hour to hour and a half, what we are going to learn is we are going to understand the EV market from the global perspective, from the Indian perspective, right? What are the opportunities, right, for youngsters like you and me? And right, how this is an era of unicorns, right? And why lack of guidance and groomed talent pool remains as a bigger threat to EVs, and how EV Masterclass is bridging the gap, and how can you be part of the EV Masterclass. And without much delay, and we have participants from Aurangabad, from Gurgaon, from Noida, from Khammam, from Karimnagar, from Japan, and I'm really, really loving it. Right? This is brilliant. This is brilliant. I really love when people demonstrate their excitement towards EVs. Right? And yes, now let's continue. A quick introduction about myself. Most of you might know me. Probably some of you would have seen, would have followed me on LinkedIn. Some of you would have attended some of my earlier seminars. But for the benefit of many who might not yet know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Rajeev YSR. I'm a bachelor's and master's from IIT Madras, 2010 batch. I worked with multiple, I would say, Fortune 500 companies, especially from the automotive sector. I started my career with TVS Motor Company as senior design engineer, where I've designed and developed a frame that would accommodate both a 125cc engine as well as a 150cc engine. Then, post which as an R&D engineer, I was into R&D. Then I joined a company called Bosch, part of their global leadership program called Junior Managers Program. I was with Bosch for about 5 years, working in India, in Germany, in Ahmedabad, different parts of the country. And then I've joined Mahindra and Mahindra, leading their product and business development activities in a company called CarWorks, which is I would say, a corporate startup of Mahindra and Mahindra. And then after that, I joined Gati Logistics in Hyderabad, where I was responsible for setting up the last mile delivery operations in Hyderabad. This was in the year 2018, when IKEA, I know some of you might be aware, IKEA is I would say, a furniture shop based out of Europe that has its shop in India, presence right now in Hyderabad, Bangalore, to certain extent, and Mumbai. And they are part of a EV 100 campaign. I'm going to talk about what these campaigns are. And they're part of this EV 100 campaign, and they have a mandate that all their last mile deliveries, that means deliveries from their store to the customer's place, must happen through electric vehicles. So way back in 2018, I joined Gati to set up these operations. And these operations were white labeled and spread across companies such as Amazon, Big Basket, Flipkart, Grofers, you name the e-commerce companies. If you are in any of the cities, say, for example, in Hyderabad or any of the cities, if your deliveries are happening through electric vehicles, I would like to take some credit of it, because this was started as early as 2018. And in fact, my work was recognized by World Economic Forum, and they have published an article on my work, right? And right. So I'm also director on board with a couple of companies, such as listed companies such as TCF Finance. Then I'm part of the policy drafting and framing committee, both at the state levels and as well as at the central levels. And it's my desire to always give back. I come from a small town where the exposure was limited. Not that I had any scarce in resource, the exposure was limited. And I strongly believe that there are many smarter people than me from that ground, but then they did not get the right exposure. If only they get the right exposure, they can do miracles. And my desire is to bring that exposure to as many people as possible. That's why I do what I do. I'm also a business and transformational coach. I conduct coaching for CXO leaders. And I've conducted workshops through which more than 1 lakh plus students have already been, I would say, influenced or positively touched. So I'm also recently recognized as 40 under 40 young EV dynamic leaders. Along with this, very recently on the birthday of Swami Vivekananda, I've also been recognized as the National Youth Icon of 2022. And these are all different business incubators on which I'm a mentor. I'm a mentor on board with T-Hub, that is a government incubator of Telangana. Then TIE, Hyderabad chapter, Usmania Technology Business Incubator, Telangana State Innovation Council, Startup Telangana, Confederation of India Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises, CAMSME, IIT Bombay Entrepreneurship Cell, IIT Madras Entrepreneurship Cell, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Goa Entrepreneurship Cell, iVentures and D Labs, Indian School of Business Hyderabad, and I also teach entrepreneurship as a career at universities such as Voksen, which is again based out of Hyderabad. Now, these are some of the other companies that I mentor right now, along with the students. Davo EV Tech, it's a two-wheeler EV company. Nova Valtech, it is a charging infra company. Blue Armor, it's a two-wheeler helmet manufacturing company. Then Rizal Automotive, it's a traction motors manufacturing company. Rizal Automotive recently received a funding, just to tell you. GrabBite, it's a food tech startup, and Geekforce, it is into logistics, and Believe again is into logistics. So these are a few snippets of where I was training the Indian Oil Corporation Limited, and I was speaking at different national, international EV forums. And these are all the brands that I worked with. The reason I've showed all of this is not to really boast about myself. No, that's not the intent at all. But to give you the comfort, right? Because some of you who know me, they anyway gain the comfort and confidence. But some of you, most of you might not know me. This might be for the first time. Right. So for you to understand that the next 1 hour that you're spending with a credible person, you're spending with a person who has done it and who is willing to share. So have no doubts, have no fears about it, and let's continue. Right. Enough credibility established. Shall we continue? If you say we should continue, type that yes, let's continue. Yeah. Brilliant, guys. As I said, we're going to look at the global context, right? And then we come to the Indian context, and we look at why all of a sudden there is so much of action happening around the electric vehicles as an industry, right? How many of you started noticing so many electric vehicles around you, either in your society or on the roads that you're going by? How many of you have noticed it? What do you think? Do you think all of this has happened so suddenly, just like that? Right? No, nothing is sudden, and that's exactly why we're going to understand, we're going to discuss why all of this is happening and what is the role that you and I can play, and most importantly, what is the opportunity that is available for you and for me. Yeah, let's continue. Saddened to see many Chinese kids. Yes, Gnana Kumar, I think you made a very good point. We should beat Chinese market, and it is in our hands. And we are going to do that also. I'm going to talk about it coming future, but good to share those things, right? And okay, let's continue. So if you look at the market size of electric vehicles, there are certain interesting points that I really want you to notice. Electric vehicles across the world, though probably in the year 1930s itself, there were electric vehicles, but for some various reasons, the electric vehicles demised, and especially thanks to the starter motor that has come, because after the starter motor that has come into picture, the ICE vehicles technology started to go high. But though that was in the past, when we look at the recent past, the actual market people started measuring from 2010. That means hardly 10 years ago. Okay. And as per the numbers recorded in 2019, the overall global EV market stands at around 162 billion US dollars. Now, 1 billion US dollars, it is roughly 7,500 crores, right? So now you multiply that with 160, that's the overall EV market in the world. Now, the reports say that in the next 6 years or 5 years, this market is expected to grow by 500%. That means from 160 billion US dollars to, it is going to go to 800 billion US dollars. Right? Now, while this is all true, 50% of contribution, where is it coming from? 50% of this contribution is coming from Asia Pacific. And you all know at this point of time, the India's contribution is minuscule. So among this 50%, close to 48-49% is coming from our neighbor, China. And then North America and then Europe put together, they make the rest of the 50%. But what does it mean that in the next 5 years, the market is going to be $800 billion. That is close to a $1 trillion. And we have an opportunity of 50% market share in Asia Pacific. And we are at zero now. And we have an opportunity to grow as much as possible. And we are only trying to understand how do we do that. Again, coming to the numbers, right? Just to emphasize how the EV market has grown. In 2010, The overall electric cars that were available on the world's roads were roughly 17,000 only, 17000. But by 2019, the total car population has become to 7.2 million. That means 72 lakhs. Imagine this, 17,000 to 72 lakhs. That's the kind of growth people were able to witness in the last, I would say, 9 years. And now more than 9 countries have more than 1 lakh electric cars running on their roads. And if you look at the exact number among different portfolio of products, there are around 7.2 million cars, that is 72 lakh cars. And there are 350 million two-wheelers and three-wheelers. And there are up to 4.5 million buses and close to around, I would say, 0.3 million commercial vehicles. These are the numbers across the world. Right? Again, just to talk about, out of the 7.2 million cars that are there in 2019, do you know that close to 30% cars were added just the previous year? That means 2.1 million cars were added in just 2018. That has been the highest number of year, right? And electric cars at this point of time, which accounted for 2.6% of the global car sales, right? And they are about 1% of the global car stock. That means of overall the cars that are available. And with a lot of technological advancements that are coming in, right, in different technologies in battery, traction motors, and vehicles, etc., the penetration is only going to improve. Now the question, how many of you have this question, right? Why EVs are taking the center stage across the world right now? Do you have a question? If you have a question, say that I have a question, or raise your hand. Why all of a sudden EVs are taking such a center stage? Wonderful, Sunila. Wonderful. I think Sanjay has made it. I'm probably trying to give a different, right? Global warming, but what's big deal about global warming, right? We have been listening about global warming while we were childhood. We also wrote questions in the examinations, right? Answers in the examination. What is global warming? So, but what's big deal about global warming? That's exactly what we are trying to learn now. Okay. Now, look at this particular slide. This is called Earth's average temperature, change in the Earth's average temperature. Now, the record keeping has begun as early as 1900s, right? So from 1900s to 2000s, the change is less than +1 degrees. But at 2020, we are at almost somewhere between 1 and 2 degrees centigrade. That is the delta, change in the average temperature. If things are left uncorrected, or if there is no course correction that is brought in, the expectation is that it will go up to +3 degrees, right? Again, the question, what is big deal if it is +3 degrees, right? Let me tell you. If it is +3 degrees, that phenomena is called an irreversible phenomena or a completely locked up phenomena. What does that mean? There is no turning back. There is no going back. And the the sea levels are expected to increase by 1 foot, 12 inches. You might ask, what's big deal? What is it if at all it increases by 12 feet, 12 inches, right? Well, let me tell you. Look at this. If we do not act now, by 2100, close to 50% of the population that is living on the earth right now would be submerged in water. All right. So when people talk about global change, when people talk about climate change, when people talk about all of this, let me tell you, these are irreversible phenomena that we are talking about. And these are fight for survival, right? It is a fight for survival for our future generations to come. And hence, look at this. This is the Arctic ice, right, from 1980s to 2010. Now, the violet color one is the fresh first year, I would say, first year ice. Then the blue color one is the second year ice. And then the green color one is the older ice. Now, look at the things between 1980s and 2000, the first quadrant. You see a lot of older ice, right? Now, come down to 2019, the older ice is almost depleted. The second year ice is also getting depleted. The first year ice is also almost dead. That means a lot of polar ice melt is happening, right? It is because of this reason, many government and non-government, not-for-profit organizations have come together and are working towards this through multiple campaigns, right? For example, EV 100 campaign. EV100 campaign says that by 2030, across the world, every mobility solution should be through electric vehicles. Then RE100 campaign, it is for renewable energies. TCG, the climate group based out of US and its head office is in Delhi. WBCSD, that is World Business Council for Sustainable Development. Now, all these are again powerful campaigns that are running. Not just that. 196 countries have come together and have pledged through their climate change, right? Have pledged through their climate change policies. If some of you are thinking that the fiercest battle that is played across the world, if some of you are thinking that the battle that is played across the world is just a minute, why the participants are just a minute, did I lock the thing? Hold on. Okay, because I see people are dropping out and again they're getting added and it is not increasing 50, whereas we have okay, let's continue. Okay, now if we are talking about the terrorism or the Taliban's, if we are thinking that that's the biggest battle, no, the biggest battle that is being fought across the world is the climate change. And hence, now among all of these, why electric mobility? Because transport sector alone contributes to 30% of the pollution. And if at all people can really work on this transport sector and bring down the pollution, there is nothing like it, right? So, and hence, electric mobility becomes one such kind of a rare, deadly combination where the governments and the OEMs, of course, the Volvos, the right, and then the General Motors and Ford, all of them made commitments that by 2030, I will not make any ICE vehicles, but it only be electric vehicles, right? So this is one of such first even deadly combination where the governments, the OEMs, and then the not-for-profit organizations, and most importantly, people like you and me are also coming together and making this change. And hence, EVs become the next biggest, right, deadly combo. So EVs is the future. It is established beyond doubt. And if it is the future, what is the message that I have for you guys? Very, very simple. If EVs is the future, you better secure your career in your EVs, right? Whether it is career or whether it is startup, whether it is an enterprise, whatever it is, right? You better secure it in your EVs, and you need to equip yourself with the needed knowledge for these EVs. Now let's come to Indian context. Indian context is this. In 2019, 31 million vehicles were sold. 2020, the number has come to 26 million, and 2021, it has come down to 22.7 million. The majority of the drag is because of the COVID, no doubt about it. And automotive industry as such contributes to 7.1% of the GDP, and it is expected to grow by 12% by 2026. And India is the fourth largest automotive market in the world. And by 2026, it would move to the second largest. If you look at the market share by production, two-wheelers 80%, passenger cars 13%, commercial vehicles 13%, and then three-wheelers again 3%. Just give, okay, great. Okay, I just wanted to see it crosses 50 because I was a little wondering if at all it is locked at 50. I don't think it is locked at 50. Let's continue, right? So Indian automotive as such is a very important aspect for the right in the playing in the Indian economy, and in that the EV industry plays a very even more significant role, right? Look at the growth of Indian automotive industry for the past 10 years, right? Since 2011, right? This is the sales, domestic sales alone, right? What I showed in the past is complete production. This is domestic sales alone. From 2011 to 2019, they have been growing consistently, but just in 2020 and 21, there is a small dip. And now we also see the electric vehicles are also, sales are also increasing, right? By year on year. While that is one thing, let me also talk a little more about automotive industry and EV industry. Indian automobile industry is expected to reach 300 billion US dollars by 2026. 300 billion US dollars. Again, I told you 1 billion US dollars is 7,500 crores. And as per the Council of Energy and Environment and Water reports, the EV market alone is going to be 206 billion US dollars. That means roughly 70% of the growth is going to come by 2030 from EVs only. right? And if you look at the foreign direct investments that have happened in the last 2 decades, that is between 2000 to 2021, the overall foreign direct investments were around 26 billion US dollars. But the government is expecting in the next 1-2 years, only in EVs, the $10 billion of foreign direct investment is being expected. And in fact, government of India is aiming to build India as both an R&D hub and also a shared mobility leader. And again, as I said, EV industry is likely to create 50 million jobs. I would like to put the other way. We need 100 million hands together to make India as the world hub for EVs. Do you agree with me? If so, type that yes, I agree. Right? While these are all fantastic points that we have seen, let us look at a little other points also. 14 out of the 15 most polluted cities in the world are in India. 2.5 particulate matter, that is how you measure the air pollution. While the World Health Organization says that it should be 10 milligrams per cubic meter, the Kanpur records are at around 170 milligrams per cubic meter. So those of my friends who are joining from Kanpur and that particular belt of Delhi or Gurgaon, just for the very reason that you are born in that belt, your life expectancy has already come down by 4 years. And then 30% of the pollution is because of the transportation. And the United Nations framework, we of course signed it, where we said we will reduce the carbon footprint by 33% by 2030 to the numbers registered in 2005. And also in the recent COP26 conference, Glasgow, that happened at Glasgow, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that by 2070, India would be a net zero emission, and that cannot happen without all the mobility solutions converting into EVs. And look at this. If we do not act right now, the Indian oil import bill, somebody also wrote the dependence of oil imports, right? You're right. The Indian oil import bill by 2030 is going to be 300 billion US dollars from 150 billion US dollars now. That means if by 2030, the automotive industry itself is about to grow to 300 billion US dollars, almost the same amount of it is being spent on the imports of oil, which is not right. Imagine now if India becomes the EV hub and we reduce our dependency on those oil imports, then all the 300 billion US dollars is going to stay within India. Will you continue to say that India would be still a developing nation then? I don't think so. Our infrastructure will improve, our primary health will improve, our primary education will improve, and the people will come from the below poverty line to the above poverty line. All that will happen. And then electric mobility revolution would be a means towards it, right? So it is established beyond doubt that electric mobility as a revolution will help India, number one, to curb pollution, number two, reduce our oil imports, and then number three, to emerge as a market leader. Now, it is to this extent, while this is all continuing, the investments in EVs continue. Maruti Suzuki committed 50,000 crores. Tata Motors committed 15,000 crores. Then Hyundai committed 4,000 crores, right? And look at this. General Motors and Jaguar and Volvo, they all said that we will make only EVs in the future. The writing is very, very clear on the wall. You might think that, okay, if EVs is only manufacturing alone, no, the electric vehicle business is not just manufacturing alone. There are multiple things. One of the other important factor is e-commerce industry. Let me tell you how EVs and e-commerce are interrelated. This is the growth of e-commerce industry since 2014. And look at the growth that was registered in between 2020 and 2021. 30% growth from 64 billion US dollars to 84 billion dollars. And with this, the expectation is that by 2025, it is going to become 188 billion US dollars. What does that mean, my friends? The next biggest growth is in e-commerce. Now, once e-commerce increases and then the penetration goes into the cities and into the villages and into the mantals and taluks, what happens? You'll have more two-wheelers, you have more three-wheelers, you have more four-wheelers penetrating into our oxygen, our lungs of the country, which are villages. Now imagine if those mobility solutions are not converted into EV, what kind of a damage that will make to our pollution levels, right? You're able to understand, correct? So that is how important. That is why we see the government is also bringing policies where all these last mile mobility services through electric vehicle, through e-commerce will only happen through EVs. And that's again another big opportunity for entrepreneurs. Again, Jeff Bezos made a commitment, Big Basket made a commitment, Flipkart made a commitment, 10,000 EVs, Big Basket, 10 to 20 times fleet increase, Flipkart 25,000. I mean, imposition of last mile deliveries through electric vehicles will be very soon released, right, by the Niti Aayog. Probably it would have already been released in the recent also. Now that is one. And then the other one is last mile connectivity of passengers. Two-wheelers. Bounce is a company working on it. Ola and Ather are the companies which are working on it, right? Three-wheeler market is a highly unorganized market, especially from passenger mobility perspective. So there are many opportunities for people. The similar concept of Uber is being built by Blue Smart, right? So many of such things are happening. Why is it that I'm talking about all of these things? Is because, guys, there are a lot of opportunities that are happening in the EV industry. And just to tell you, in the year 2020, the maximum number of unicorns were only 8. And Ola already in couple of years of its launch, that is in 2019 itself, it became the first unicorn in electric mobility industry. And in 2021, the number of unicorns were 42 plus. What does that mean? This is an era of EVs, and this is an era of of unicorns and startups. Right now, look at this. In a regular ICE vehicles, we are talking about 150 moving parts and 24 parts which are into wearing. Whereas in electric vehicles, those 150 moving parts have come down to just 24 moving parts. And the wear and tear parts of 24 have just come down to 11. People would say, hey, how is it? Even for electric vehicles, the electricity is produced from coal. Let me tell you, this is this concept, right? The concept of tank to wheel efficiency and battery to wheel efficiency. The efficiency losses in an ICE vehicle is at, right? The efficiencies are only at 25% with losses at around 75%. But in electric vehicles, the efficiency is somewhere between 80 to 90%, right? From a gasoline tank, the gas is absorbed, engine, from engine, it gets into, right, different kinds of clutch, from clutch to gearbox, gearbox to transmission, transmission to propeller shaft to axle shafts, and axle shaft to tires. That is what is the thing in the regular ICE vehicles. But whereas in EVs, batteries to motors, and motors to wheels. That's all. So simple is that is why the efficiencies are so high, right? And also you look at this, right? In 2010, the per kilowatt hour units, so generally per kilowatt hour means each unit of an electric vehicle is measured in kilowatt hour. That's how the units are measured. In 2010, when we all started, it was around $1,160. That is roughly, I would say, 1 lakh rupee per unit. And now we are talking about $150. That is roughly, I would say, 11,000 to 12,000 rupees. And the expectation is that it will, by 2024, this will come down by less than $100. And I'm sure you all know that 50% of an electric vehicle cost is because of the batteries. And now the battery costs are coming completely down, which means that the electric vehicles numbers are only going to increase and go high, right? So do you agree and do you believe that EVs is an opportunity for the entire country to achieve all these three? Emerge as a market leader, reduce the oil imports, and reduce the pollution. Do you agree? If so, type that I agree. Yeah. Now let us look at how the world has progressed and how the world has acted so far. Here you see between 2014 to 2019, I've taken only the last 5 years from 2019. These are total number of electric vehicles that are electric cars that are in circulation across the countries. Look at this. China, when it started, it was only in 2014, it was only 0.1 million cars. But right now you see it is 3.35. That means out of those 7.2 million cars that we said are running on the roads, close to 50% is coming from China only, 3.35 million. And with that, so many number of cars, look at the penetration within China. Penetration is percentage sale of electric vehicles in the new car sales, less than 10%. Whereas look at Norway and Europe. The penetration is more than 50%, but then the numbers are very, very limited. So who else can compete such in volumes of China? If not India, it is us. We alone can compete with China with such kind of volumes, right? Now, the government is doing multiple, I would say, activities. The government is doing multiple events to ensure and to push this e-mobility forward, right? Let us look at two different things. One is the demand creation, other one is the supply creation. Now, in terms of the demand, you see here, the government, I mean, most of you are thinking, right? There are so many electric buses. Why? Because the government started focusing on shared mobility, converting the existing CNG buses into electric. And then government started disincentivizing the vehicles. It started giving subsidies to fleet owners, and Energy Efficiency Services Limited and its subsidiary Convergence Energy Services Limited, they started aggregating the demand to create the demand. And from the supply perspective, this is from the demand. From supply perspective, waiving of taxes, separate EV tariff for charging, homologation. That means ARI, Automotive Research Authority of India, or ICAT, that is International Certification Agency for Testing. Both of them will give a stamp saying that yes, this particular vehicle can run on the road. That homologation, people are considering that that will be removed. That means even a foreign homologated vehicle can run in Indian roads. And FAMES. How many of you know what FAMES is? Faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles. FAMES is also, I would say, released to support this. If you have doubts, please type your doubts or reserve them towards the end. In the next 10 minutes, probably we will almost conclude and we will open it up for the discussion. Yeah. So it is established beyond doubt that EVs is the next biggest thing. How many of you know Niti Aayog, the earlier Planning Commission of India? For the first time, as topmost think tank like Niti Aayog is anchoring the complete e-mobility from the forefront. It is coordinating with Department of Science and Technology to bring standards for EV charging infrastructure, coordinating with Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, talking about green license plates, reducing the permissions from 18 years to 16 years, vehicle and battery disengagement. We already saw that. Now people can register just a glider without the battery. Ministry of Finance for rationalized customs duty for battery packs. Ministry of Housing and Urban, already buildings policy was changed to accommodate the charging infra for electric vehicles. ISRO is working on indigenous lithium-ion batteries, and Ministry of Power is already working very, very aggressively to demonstrate and to deploy lot many charging infrastructure points into the country. Right now, all of these are happening in EVs. But what is the biggest threat, guys? The biggest threat to the EV industries is the availability or non-availability of relevant manpower. Most of our I was talking to the Ether team, right, last week. They called me and said, Rajeev, I need 100 engineers to join immediately. Do you have them? Do you have as part of your EV Masterclass? No answer. No answer. Why? Because there are not many people. I'm going to talk about all of these. Automakers cutting the jobs. See, on one hand, automakers are cutting the jobs. Why? Because regular ICE vehicles jobs become redundant, irrelevant. But these people are not equally upskilled to get their jobs in EVs. Right? And people are looking for foreign for their top executives. That's all true. Right? So this is the new phenomena, right? The new phenomena is the jobs are coming on one hand, but then the things are, see, just to tell you, right? Building 60, just this is again a very interesting thing. Building 60 million vehicles require employment of about 9 million people directly. This is more than 5% of world's total manufacturing employment. More than world's 5% of total manufacturing employment is created only in the automobile industry. And it is also estimated that each direct automotive job will create 5 indirect jobs. How? It is through textiles, carpentry, carpeting, computer chips, rubber, plastics, glass, aluminum, steel, etc. Now the question, why? Why? I'm going to answer that. Why? Because the world is transitioning to EVs, but then there are very, very few people who are aware of EVs, who can work, not again aware in terms of a customer, but who are aware in terms of the technology and things and who are ready to work on EVs. So transition to EVs is inevitable, and it is also an irreversible phenomena. And availability of relevant, non-availability of relevant manpower continues to be a showstopper. And that's exactly where EV Masterclass is here to solve that problem. What is EV Masterclass? EV Masterclass is first of its initiative by the industry, of the industry, for the industry. Let me tell you, I'm not a professor. I'm not an academician. I'm from the industry. I've been leading the electric mobility revolution from the forefront for the past 4.5 years, right? You can type Rajeev YSR across the LinkedIn or across Google, you get what all I've been doing, right? But I know that this EV as an industry needs a lot of talent. And hence, when I discussed this with the rest of the industry experts, and we curated together a curriculum, we designed, we developed, and we are delivering it. Right? It is not done by academia, but by the industry. How is this particular EV Masterclass structured? EV Masterclass is structured such a way that pedagogy is very much engaged. We go through a detailed study of the evolution of technology. We almost go to 16th century, 17th century, and from there, from the steam engines, we come to the EVs. That's important to understand. We look at the working principles of an automobile and its different components very, very in detail. All of these two, we through to relative theory of learning. That means we look at ICE as well as we look at EVs. Then there are regular projects and assignments you are working with. Some of these projects are also, I would say, are given by the companies. And let me tell you, the biggest differentiator is regular interaction with the CXOs and the mentors who are leading the industry from the forefront. What are the modules covered? Yes, Kumar, I'm going to answer. BMS is covered. The modules that are covered are vehicle dynamics, components of electric vehicles, batteries, construction of batteries, chemistry of batteries, forming the battery pack, series parallel connection. How do you calculate the battery pack? How do you calculate the force or traction that is required? How do you calculate the torque and the power that is required? The motors, transmissions, not just these engineering aspects. You also get the business aspect, right? What are the business models, right? What are the policies and frameworks? Again, not just going through the policies and frameworks, but interpreting them rightly. This is important, guys. Interpreting them rightly to understand what exactly it is, right? So all of these are being covered, and will be covered in it. What makes this EV Masterclass unique? What makes this EV Masterclass unique is it's a first of its kind of a curriculum or an initiative designed, developed, and delivered by the industry experts. You get an opportunity to hear from the CEOs of the industry directly, industry-centric learning, and a unique pedagogy of relative theory of learning. What are the outcomes assured? You will have a complete 360-degree understanding of electric vehicles, both from the industry, from the product, technology, business, and policy frameworks perspective. You get a complete understanding of the functioning of EVs and their working principles. And you get, importantly, to industry and various business models. It basically does participants, it makes them industry ready, either to be ready as entrepreneurs or to be ready as the professionals. Okay, whom is it for? You might say, oh, I'm not an engineer, but can I still take it? Right? It is for students, it is for engineering, non-engineering, professionals, entrepreneurs, for everybody. Let me tell you guys, the way this has been designed is the assumption is that somebody would have been an 8th standard physics student. If he is able to understand what is length, that's all is required. Length, and then the unit of length is meters, distance, and the derivative of that length is velocity. Then the rate of change of velocity for time is acceleration. When you multiply that acceleration with the mass that is moving, it becomes the force called newtons, right? And with the force, the distance that any object covers, that force cross, that S distance becomes the work that is done. And then the distance covered in a stipulated time, or the work done in a stipulated time, becomes the power. So that is how we build one after the other, and then we understand the complete needed knowledge of the EV ecosystem. So it's a double-edged sword. Why is it a double-edged sword? Because for learners, it makes them industry ready, saves hours and efforts of preparation. Of course, you might as well try to Google and all of this, but again, let me tell you, all that might lead you only to confusion. But in terms of organizations, again, on one hand, while we are talking about the students and employees and entrepreneurs, on the other hand, we have the organizations who are willing to take these students or the pass outs from EV Masterclass as through internships, through projects, right, and through employment. Why? Because it is a reduced talent acquisition cost for organizations, increased employee-employer retention, and the employees are productive from day one. What is the biggest differentiator of EV Masterclass? The biggest differentiator of EV Masterclass are our mentors. Who are our mentors? Our mentors are industry leaders, policymakers, ecosystem enablers, and startup leaders. Some of them for your example, right? How many of you seen this Kinetic Luna, Kinetic Honda, Mazda vans? Kinetic as a company based out of Pune, right? So Ms. Sulaja Firodia Motwani, she's the founder CEO of Kinetic Green. She's a mentor on board of EV Masterclass, right? Mr. Karthikeya Haryani, who is founder CEO of Charge Zone, mentor on EV Masterclass. Mr. Gopalakrishnan VC, who is the automotive director for the government of Telangana, mentor on EV class. Mr. Polash Das, who is the CESL electric mobility head. He spoke recently to the participants of EV Masterclass. He is from the government of India, right? And then we have Priyank Thalukar, CEO EVI. Then we have Mr. Venkat Rajaraman, Signi, which is into battery and battery management systems. He is a mentor on EV Masterclass. We have Mr. Manish Singh, who is the global VP and head of operations for India from Dow EV Tech. And apart from this, you have many other mentors, right, who are there to help you and to mentor you. When I bounced off this idea with the rest of the 40 under 40, I would say industry leaders, they all said, yes, Rajiv, let's do it. Industry needs 100 million hands to come together and let us do it, right? So for those of you, we are almost towards the end of the questions. I'll be answering, yes, Kumar, I have seen all your questions. I'll be answering each one of them. For some of you who might have missed in the beginning, I am Rajeev YSR. I am the chief mentor anchoring this particular EV masterclass. Right, I'm a bachelor's master's from IIT Madras. Working in the industry for the past 12 years, and worked with certain brands such as TVS, Bosch, Mahindra & Mahindra, Gati Logistics. And my work was, I was the first one to deploy electric vehicles in IKEA operations, and my work was recognized by the World Economic Forum. And I'm also a coach by choice. I've been recently recognized as 40 under 40. These are all different incubators I'm mentoring on. T-Hub, TiE Hyderabad, Startup Telangana, IIT Bombay, IIT Madras, and IIT Kharagpur, ISB Hyderabad, all these kind of incubator centers I'm a mentor. And these are different companies that I'm mentoring. And these are glimpses of different training and mentoring sessions. And these are all different brands. As I said, my work was also recognized by World Economic Forum. It is published in their magazines. These are the ways I'm mentor on. And the EV Masterclass was recently launched by Her Excellency Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan, who is the governor from Telangana. And this is again part of those particular launch, right? And yes, so if people, if you are interested to enroll in the EV Masterclass, I'm going to share the link on the chat, and or you can ping me personally on the chat, and I'm going to share the enrollment link for you to join EV Masterclass. Now I'm going to answer questions, but even before that, we have some students who have joined. We have already, just to tell you, we are almost end of the first cohort. In a couple of weeks, we have already started the cohort in October 2021, October 2021. The first cohort batch is almost there. We have some of the students joining from first cohorts. I would like to ask them to share their experience of this EV Masterclass and how it has helped them. So whoever is joined from the previous, Anil, Madhuri, Sharad, right, or Lakshman, or whoever, please feel free to unmute yourself and share your experience, please.
Yeah, hi Rajiv, Madhuri here. So as always, I think I'll go first.
Please introduce yourself, your qualification, what do you do, etc., and then please start.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. I'm Dr. Madhuri YSR. Just 1 minute. I'll just close the door. Sorry, just one.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, hi. So hi everyone. I'm Dr. Madhuri YSR. Presently, I'm working as a faculty, as an associate professor in Gitanji College of Engineering and Technology here in Hyderabad. So I've done my PhD from BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus in battery management systems. And so just to tell you, I should be one of your kind of, I won't say inspiration, but just look at me. I already did my PhD in battery management systems, and I have been working in the electric vehicle. I've been teaching this course for some time, and I still took this course. Please do walk into this course. Don't assume anything, because you have everything to learn from this course. So yeah, so that's about me. Presently, I'm working. So now coming to the class itself. So yes, I have been associated with this class for the past 3 months, and Fridays, I don't think, once I have missed this class when I was traveling, and I don't miss this class. So there is something new to learn every week. Okay. So Rajiv's classes go from the basics, even like, starting from what he said, Newton's laws of force is equal to mass into acceleration. He starts from there, and then he goes on the class just transitions into something. It goes from the known to the unknown. So I think that is a key takeaway. So coming to the content of the class. So my experience, I'm electrical engineer by, my undergrad is in electrical engineering. So when he taught about, the motors, or when he taught about the batteries or anything, so everywhere there was something new to learn. So because, as he said, there is an industry perspective to everything. So that way we kind of have key takeaways. And more importantly, so that is completely the technical part of it. So there is, when he introduces the batteries, or when he introduces the powertrain components as such. So he covers the entire circle, because you start with what it is, how it is, where it is being used, and it just forms like a loop. So that is coming to the technical part of it. So now coming to the other aspects, the business models. And so I've been an academician myself for the past 10 years. I have worked in BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus as a faculty also. So I don't know whether you people have seen my testimonial, but before this class, I never thought I could do anything on my own. But this class has encouraged me to at least visualize that, in the near future, I can do something on my own in this space. So the reason being, for every single aspect of the EV, there is a kind of opportunity that he introduces, either whether he introduces it himself or the mentors, especially. Or as he mentioned, we had Mr. Palash Das, head of e-mobility from CSL last Saturday. Extremely interesting 120 minutes. We had an excellent interaction about the policies and everything. So whatever misconceptions or whatever ideas you had, you go into depth in this particular class. So all policies, all parts of the sector are explained in extreme detail. So, so you might think that, okay, maybe this is like a regular class. The main aspect of this class is the class is quite engaging. My friends from this class are also here, Sharath and Anil. I'm not sure if they can also vouch for the same thing, that the class is quite engaging, because you're involving yourself, and to keep up with that, you're also doing your own set of reading also. So that's why I'll tell you that you should take this class to know about the current trends, to know about what is happening in the EV sector, and especially if you are looking for something to do, this platform is where you will learn what to do and where to do. So I think that will that will give you some clarity about this one. So I think that's it from my side, Rajeev. So if anything else you want me to add.
No, thank you very much, Madhuri. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time, for joining, and then for sharing your inputs.
Hey, Rajeev.
Hey, hi. Is it Sharath? Hi, Sharath.
Hey, Rajeev. Thanks, Madhuri. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak in this forum. Rajeev, in the interest of time, I'll keep this sweet and short, but I'll try to give you the insights. I have 20 plus years of experience. I've been working with an MSc in IT as a director for data practice and analytics. So far, I've been into this cohort 1, which I feel fortunate to be part of the very first pioneering cohort. Spent about 17 plus weeks with Rajeev and a few of my good friends here who come with very rich experience in different fields. Madhuri and Rajeev has covered most of the stuff, but this course, for whatever reasons, right? It is meant for anyone who wants to get into a job or entrepreneurship, or you want to get into some shape or form in EV, or you want to take some dealership or do something. This is definitely the course. And at least my personal experience, though, I myself have been a trainer for a few of the programs in the past, and I have been to colleges as a guest speaker. So with that experience, I'm saying this, the kind of a price tag that you have for this course versus the kind of the content that Rajeev walks you through is something you cannot even expect, right? I mean, such a reasonable tag that you have, and the kind of content it will equip you with everything that is required in the market, right? It's just not a theory, and it'll ensure that he'll give you the assignments intact as and when required. And he also follows up, whether you're doing it or not, to ensure that you are actually equipped with the content that is given, so that you're not, shying away from what is being taught in the class. That is very good thing. And since you must have gone through his credentials and testimonials, right? He has very rich experience, and the field itself is very new, as we all know. And having 12 plus years of experience in this field itself is a big achievement as an individual. And he has been contributing enough in this industry. So getting to know the insights directly from such, personality is definitely one of the key factors. If you ask me what is the differentiator of joining this course, as I see a lot of courses in the market, this itself is the biggest differentiator, right? And Raj, I'll take probably 1 more minute, if that is fine.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Mahesh, is it clear now? The mic is a little far off. Okay. So how I got into the course, right? So as I stated, I'm a hardcore IT professional, been into the business intelligence data space for 20 plus years. And then when I was looking for some topic for my PhD, when I got selected somewhere in August, I was trying to look at some green cloud computing, all the IT related topics. But my personal passion was into EVs, for the last 2 plus years, because I had a few of my reporters who purchased even the electrical bikes. So I used to make, conversations, initiate the dialogues with them on EVs, just to know how this EV is going to really change the paradigm in the market. Right, that's why I inculcated the interest, and I thought, why don't I do something in EVs as part of my PhD? And I did enough research, and I thought, let me postpone my PhD rather than doing it now. And I wanted to get into this course just to equip myself with the basics. I thought this is just to, going to give me the basics of the EV, but later I realized that it is just not basics. It is going to take you through multiple dimensions of all the EV sectors, right from the accelerators or policies, how government is really ramping up on different areas to ensure that this industry is given all the subsidies, all the incentives. And as you know, right, the world itself is witnessing a lot of progress in the last 2 plus years. Right? So don't delay. This is the right time for us. Don't think about how is the market going to be. And you are going to the pioneers, equip yourself with the required skills. I would say, if not now, when? So take the advantage of being the pioneers. Probably you'll be the second or third cohort. So with that, I'll probably take a pause. Thank you, Raju, once again.
Thank you very much, Sharath and Madhuri. I'm going to answer a couple of questions, guys. I'm going to answer a couple of questions, right? Yeah. So also, just to tell you, right, I generally talk about this to rest of the other participants also, because while we were at Gati, while we were about to enter into EV, right, EV almost 4.5 years ago, we engaged a marketing consulting firm to do the needed research and to do the needed benchmark on our behalf. And you know how much we paid? We paid 30 lakhs, right? Only for probably a 20-page report. Of course, they discussed and they, I'm sure some of you who are coming from the corporate and you by yourselves as an entrepreneurs, right? How much this charges, right? Now, the information and then the data that is provided in this particular cohort is multiple folds, probably I would say 10 to 20 times more than what we got through that particular marketing consulting data, right? And yet that is done at almost less than, I would say, 10% of the cost, right? So the reason we have placed it very nominal is because our intent is not to really create huge wealth around it, but our intent is to really make a difference to the EV market, right? To make this particular thing as much affordable as possible to the people, so that people can enter into this EV cohort, be groomed to become the next generation EV entrepreneurs as an EV employees. So let me answer a couple of questions of Kubar. Unless Indian market improve quality and technology, it will be only copy-paste assembly. Copy means copy, policy copy or other. Semiconductor market is still dumped, even LED. Okay, now let me answer these things, Kumar. Very recently, our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has announced a production-linked incentive scheme for 72,000 crores only for semiconductor industry. Let me tell you why India is going to be the powerhouse. Thanks in a way to COVID, it made basically all the markets and countries averse to the China, right? And also the recent power blackout that happened last month in China, and which created a lot of ripples. I mean, for the very first time, the whole world realized that we are over dependent on China for a semiconductor industry, China, Taiwan, and other places, right? So that's why that's why nobody wants to really do business anymore with China. And Japan as a country is giving incentives for people, for companies to moving out of China, right? And Indian government has recently tied up with the Taiwan and Thailand, right, who are basically one of the strong semiconductor manufacturers, to build state-of-the-art semiconductor industry within right in India, near Delhi, right? So the government is doing everything that is required, and many companies such as Intel, Lenovo, etc., are opening up their shops within India. So India very soon is going to become not only just the EV hub, but also is going to become semiconductor right and chip manufacturing hub. Do not worry about it. Yeah. Any other questions, Dilip ji? If there are any other questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, the link is given for you to be enrolled. I see that some enrollments are already there. So basically what happens is, once you enroll yourself, you will get access to the already recorded content of 30 hours. And also you will get access to the live sessions that are going to happen right every week. And we have CXO sessions every week. So you're going to have access to them every week, and you will get all those details, right? So nothing to worry. Yeah. We see some yeah, I could see certain who is this already. Yeah, so I see Mr. Gautam has already registered, and I see, okay, yeah, perfect. And I also see, great guys, there are Jeevan and Ranadir, there are people who have registered. Fantastic. Yeah. Are all charger manufacturers install and maintain themselves, or they outsource it? Okay, Rishi, this is a good question. See, generally the charging manufacturers, they have something called turnkey operator model. That is what majority of the business that is happening right now, which will very soon change. What is this turnkey business model is? They themselves are the charger manufacturers. They themselves have the software through which you can that is integrated with the Google Maps, and then you'll be able to find. And they also have that particular turnkey software through which you can book that particular charger, activate that, and get the power. So this is called turnkey solutions. You can become I would say franchisees for these charging players as turnkey solutions. But in some cases, I understand these partners are also selling these charging equipment for retail users. That has just picked up, right? So yeah. So Hemant, I think scooter service, not only scooter service, all EV, two-wheelers, three-wheelers also. If not four-wheelers, probably is a complicated thing at this point of time. But at least two-wheelers, three-wheelers servicing is again another area which can be filled. If you come from a service industry, I think you should very soon. Okay, so Ganesh, you want one-on-one, as I have some specific ideas before investing. No problem, Ganesh. You can write to info@evmasterclass.com your questions, and our team will respond to you. And probably, if the time permits, they will also arrange for a thing. Don't worry, right, guys? Let me tell you one thing very clearly. The intent is here is very clear, that to help and to enable as many people as possible to consider or to take the path of entrepreneurship in EV industry, and at the same time be eligible for the opportunities that are coming in the electric vehicle industry. There are two things. One, the ability to see a change that is happening in the future. And number two, the ability to train ourselves and adopt. Even if somebody wants to train themselves, there are not many opportunities that are available in the particular market scenario, which is unfortunate. That is why, despite me having a very comfortable 9-to-5 job, right, yet I choose to spend these extra efforts and extra, I would say, time in nurturing and in cultivating this talent pool, because it needs, right? If not for anything, I believe that this 1 hour of interaction help you to gain some insights and some perspectives from the global context and from the Indian context. And if certain questions I was not able to answer, I'm sorry about it, because of course, I am also learning. My knowledge is also limited. Again, on the practical applications, whether this vehicle is good, that vehicle is good. I'm not a sales guy to tell you which vehicle is good. Unfortunately, right? I maintain my own standards before I make any comments. So I restrict myself to the concepts. I restrict myself to the technology. I restrict myself to the policies and the business models, right? And then my credentials speak about me. I don't have to really prove this to anybody else, right? Once again, great. Thank you very much. Any questions, please feel free. So those who have already enrolled, you would have received a mail from evmasterclass.com. So once you receive this mail, please log in, change your password. You will receive that company set password. So please change that particular password. And once you change that password, you will get complete access where all the interactions of different CEO leaders that have done, you will get an access. Many of your questions will be clarified. You will get enormous right ideas on how to start business. But again, don't worry. This is not just going to be a knowledge session. There is also a team that is working with me, which will help the budding entrepreneurs to handhold them and to grow, right? So we are here to make a difference, to make a dent to the EV industry. So trust us. Don't be too much worried, and don't be too much. Don't really get worried too much. Yeah. Anybody would like to share one or two things that you learned from this session? Would you like to share? Come on to the screen and then share. Manufacturing of EV components. Yeah. So EV components manufacturing, especially there are companies which are budding up right now. Be it the traction motors and be it the battery assemblies. Right. They are there. Yes, that is coming up. But that we can discuss a little deeper. It is not just as easy as it might appear. Thank you, Anand. Thank you. I'm glad that you like this session. Yeah. Benjamin, any specific questions, Benjamin? Darpan, Dilip ji, Satya Prasad, Ajay, Manaswi, Gauri, Harshia, Hemant, Sunila. I'm just calling on the names. Hi, Sanjay.
Hey, hi, Rajeev. It was a good session. In fact, you put the status or the statistics of EV market, how the world is and how India is. Right? Even though we are from automobile industry, we are very keen on the IC engines altogether now, because
Very
that was
true.
the gene. And now, looking up the new figures, yeah, definitely excites. And your presentation were to the point. In fact, it was very good. So let's see, how we can take that forward and then keep the momentum on. As you rightly said, we'll also see what dent we can make to the EV market is what we are really counting on. And then let's see. Let's do it together.
Brilliant, Sanjay. Brilliant. Where are you from, Sanjay? And what are you doing?
I am from Hosur. So I run engineering services in Hosur.
Sanjay, to tell you, my first job was with TVS Motors in Hosur. I lived in TVS Nagar.
Yeah, I also worked in TVS Motor and New Product Development.
Which year? Which year?
Right from 2007 to 2012.
Okay, I was a PGET, postgraduate engineering trainee, in 2010.
Okay.
Interesting. Good. Anybody would like to come and ask questions or share what was your experience of this last 1 hour? Please feel free. Yeah, AI ML can help to build EVs, electric vehicles. I think, yes, Anand, basically now electric vehicles are no longer automobiles, except for a simple reason that they have wheels and move, right? Because with a lot of IoT things that are happening, those are smart devices, right? So a lot of research is happening. In fact, Sharad, the one who is part of first cohort, he is focused upon how he can make these EVs smarter with AI and ML. And yeah, there is going to be a lot many, I would say, innovations that are going to come with the combination of them. In fact, very soon we will have one session with the NASCOM directors and CEOs who are specifically working on the AI ML for EVs, and that will help you, right? Part of the EV Masterclass that will be there. Ganesh, okay, you have also enrolled. There is no layman and things like that, Ganesh. We are all here to learn. We are all here to learn, equip ourselves and move forward. And that's what is more important, right? I'm very, very happy that I was able to add some value to all of you. Great. So Ganesh is also enrolled. Fantastic. Yeah. Any specific question, guys? Please feel free to ask. No worries. Don't hesitate. There is no right and there is no wrong question. After completing this course, can we start the company like KPIT? Okay, so if your will is to start, we are there to support and help you. As I told you, we will also connect you to business incubators, and we will also connect you to the needed investors community. If the idea is good, we will continue to work with you. There is no doubt about it, Satya. We are already doing it, and we will continue to do it. EV Masterclass is just an entry point, right? And this is just welcoming to the world of EVs. And once you enter into the world of EVs, the whole opportunities, whatever you have, you will reap the benefits of them. Right, and people who are into software, there are so many openings that are happening, right, within the EV industry. So, and just for example, if suppose some of you really want to understand my credibility, you can type Rajeev YSR in Google, or you can type Rajeev YSR in YouTube, or you can type Rajeev YSR in LinkedIn. You will have multiple international forums where I spoke, where I gave my talks, and you will required to know how chassis manufacturing companies for two-wheelers. Okay, Sainath, let me answer this question. For two-wheeler manufacturers, what happens is generally, this is a hard fact, but let me tell you, all the chassis are manufactured by unorganized sector, not necessarily organized sector, or even though organized sector, but a small scale industries. Other than for heroes and ethers, etc., but majority of these small time two-wheeler OEM players, they get their chassis manufactured from small time players and then they just assemble them. So specific company names I do not know right now, Sainath, but I can help you. If you are looking for some kind of a help in that area, please, again, as I told you, try to info@evmasterclass.com. We'll help you. We'll definitely help you. Be very specific in your ask. We are going to help you. See, obviously, that I may not have answers to all the questions to be able to answer now, but we have the intent to help you. Don't worry. Ganesh, you want to come forward and then talk? Gautam, you want to come forward and talk how you took the decision and move forward? Okay, Ganesh is leaving. You want to share? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, before leaving, yeah. Thank you for organizing this. It's been very informative and I learned quite a bit. I mean, I have zero knowledge of EV. I just know that it's something that's needed and it's hyped up nowadays. So that way, I think learning from you guys, your mentors, is going to be very valuable. So looking forward to it. I just got to go now. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time to organize this.
Welcome, Ganesh. Take care. Good night. Yeah, Gautam, you want to share? Gautam, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much for inviting me into this session, and it was really helpful listening to. I had listened to another previous session with another entrepreneur. I forgot his name, but he was into those really small scooters.
Correct.
Yeah. So
at IIMB incubation cell, is it, Gautam?
No. It was an online presentation.
Online. Okay.
Just, I think last week, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm mostly into making boats. Electric boats is my interest, and we have been using boats from Tokido Motors. That's from Germany.
Wow.
And we've been trying to. We're hoping to make our own motors. So we're still in prototype level when it comes to even the boats also. So
it's been tested and all that. Hopefully, I'll be able to learn a little bit more from your masterclass and get out a good product there for India.
Brilliant, Gautam. I look forward. I'm excited, right? Electric boats is very, very interesting. I'm excited to work with you. See you on the other side. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, Hemant, I'm having a 15 years of prototype vehicle building from a reputed OEM. How will this course will help useful and help me experience? Okay. So, Hemant, I think 15 plus years is a brilliant experience that you have right now, right? Especially you're talking about prototype vehicle building. And see, basically, you have spent 15 years into ICE vehicles. Now, what this course will help you is, this cohort will help you is, it will give you a different dimension. It will give you a different dimension of EVs, and it will help you understand everything about electric vehicles. This is guaranteed, guys. This is no exaggeration. You get to learn everything about electric vehicles. And when you add this EV knowledge to the great experience that you have, and when you position yourself in the market, you will be a hotcake. You will be a hotcake. Let me tell you that. Good. As I told you, Hemant, the EV cohort is taken by students who are engineering, taken by people with 20 plus years of experience in IT, taken by doctorates, PhD from BITS Pilani, and another doctor, PhD from State University of New York, Buffalo, who has his own industry, right? So, and they're all finding it useful, and and in fact, I'm working along with them to make it really big, to build it. My intent is not just to teach and then leave. My intent is to build this community, to take this community and to take this to the next level. That's the intent. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Yeah. Brilliant. I see people still doing it. Fantastic. So the link is already there. Feel free to join and enroll to the cohort. And I'm there, always committed, right, to help you. So with this, if there are no other questions, any other questions? Still, there are people. If you have questions, ask me. If there are no other questions, then this is Rajeev YSR, your friend, your coach, your mentor, and your guide. Duration of the accessibility. Okay, so it is like this, Dishu. The course is roughly at this point of time a 30 hours of content, but then the content will only be added up because we will invite a lot many speakers and talk to them. But 30 hours of core content on vehicle dynamics, traction motors, batteries, and everything is put together. You get a direct access to the content that is already available on a classes similar to this. Along with this, you will get invite for every week's class that happens, and you get an access for all of it. So 30 hours for you to learn is already there. You can just go and pick and learn and finish all the 30 hours probably in 3-4 days. That is there. And you can continue to learn every week from different mentors and different talks. So it's a combination. If in case you miss some week, don't worry. Our learning management system software will record all of these things and will make them available to you. Dishu. Good question, but these are good questions, right? They will help people. Yeah. Okay, guys, and I think thank you very much for your time. Saturday evening, you're given almost an hour and a half of your life, right? Such a time you're given to me. I'm very much privileged, and I'm very much happy that you have such great interest and excitement and affinity towards EV. Again, my humble recommendation and humble appeal is electric vehicles as an industry needs 100 million hands to be on the deck to enable India to be the world's EV hub. And as I am attempting, I'm making a small attempt to in that particular thing. Join me and let us really make a dent to the EV industry. Thank you. Good night. God bless you. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. Bye.